My name is Elyse Wild, and you are listening to women's lifestyle magazine Inspired Voices. Data shows that since mid-March, when a lot of shutdown orders were rolled out in states across the nation, that alcohol sales have skyrocketed. Some grocery stores are reporting limiting customers to how many bottles of alcohol they can buy. I think that's a safe indicator that we might be using alcohol more than we had before. And even for those of us without a history of substance abuse, we have to be careful. Alcohol can lower your immunity, and it is a depressant, although it does seem to be immediately effective for providing relief. It's not a great long-term solution for dealing with stressors. So today I'm joined by Bob Smith, who is the substance abuse clinical manager at Cherry Health. And Bob and I discuss ways in which we can recognize when we might be veering into dangerous territory with our quarantinis and how to reach out and get help. So I hope you enjoy it. I hope this podcast encourages. I hope you enjoy our conversation. Okay, so Bob Smith, can you tell me a little bit about yourself and your work?
Yes, thank you. So I started working in the field in 2009. Working in a residential treatment setting, and since that time, I have been involved in a number of different programs, including residential, outpatient, intensive outpatient, medication-assisted treatment. And I now work at Cherry Health, where I supervise a number of programs focused on providing medication-assisted treatment services specifically for opioid use disorders and alcohol use disorders.
So tell me about the programming at Cherry Health. Like, how does one access help at Cherry Health, and then what does that help look like?
Yeah, so there's a number of different ways of accessing that help, and we've got a number of different programs at Cherry Health. So we've got a couple standalone methadone clinics, both here in Grand Rapids as well in Muskegon. We also have a number of outpatient offices where people can access substance use services. And then what we've been doing more recently is integrating those services directly into our primary care offices.
Okay.
And so at our doctor's offices, we're also able to offer many services to address any type of substance use issues that someone might have going on.
Oh, that sounds great. That sounds really effective.
Yeah, and so to access those services, people can get involved in a number of ways. It might be through a number 180 or community mental health. It might be through a referral from their doctor's office, or they could just call any of our locations and inquire about those services to help get connected with them.
So this pandemic is impacting us all differently, although we're all feeling stress and anxiety for what's going on right now and the impact it's having on our lives. Everyone's stress is relative. Some people right now are pregnant. Some people are suddenly out of work. Some people are still working. It's all about what's going on in our lives. And, I know that some people have histories of substance abuse and depend on programs like that, of which you offer at Cherry Health. And they might be feeling a little scared right now with those resources now being less accessible or just being different. So can you tell me a little bit about how you guys are meeting your clients and your patients in a place where they can still have tools to maintain their sobriety during all of this?
Yeah, so you touched on this idea of it being a little different, and I think that this is really important, the fact that I think that lots of times when things feel different, we often might reflect those as being wrong or bad. And the reality is that it is just different, but can still be as effective. And so at Cherry Health, what we've been implementing is going to telehealth services for all of our therapy appointments. And so being able to offer continued services through an online platform where we can be kind of face-to-face as well as speak through that and continue the work that we have been doing with patients before, as well as being able to accept new patients and help getting people connected during this stressful time.
Okay. So one thing that I said before we started recording that I've been personally seeing in my life is I think people leaning a little bit more into alcohol as a coping mechanism than people who might not necessarily have a history of substance abuse or perhaps not an apparent one. Um, and we're all stuck in our houses and we're all trying to find ways to cope. And it seems like alcohol seems to be something that is really readily accessible and something that people are maybe indulging in more now than they used to. Can you talk about that a little bit about maybe signs that people can look out for so they can recognize within themselves that they might be going a little too far, or how they could also maybe get some help too if they think they need it.
Yeah. So I found it interesting. I was in the store the other day shopping, and there are pallets of beer and wine in the center aisles. And so I would agree that alcohol is being used probably in higher quantities than may have happened before. And some of that, I think, is a disruption in our normal routine.
Uh-huh.
So someone who may have used alcohol kind of in a safer drinking level before now has more time on their hands and is finding themselves using more and more alcohol than they may have in the past. So it's really important that we think about safer drinking levels and understanding kind of what those are. So I'm going to actually kind of pause this for a second and get the actual ones up. I meant to do this before.
I saw a picture on Facebook the other day. I don't know what store it was at. I don't know if it was at Meijer or if it was at Costco, but it was a sign in front of like taped to the like liquor shelf that said limit 5 per customer, and I was just like, oh my god, that's that was really telling to me.
Right. So when we think about safer drinking levels, what we're looking at is typically this would be 4 drinks for a woman in a day and 5 drinks for a man.
Mm-hmm.
And that is, let me see here. See, they change these numbers on me sometimes.
So that was
I'm trying to get the most up to date.
That was 4 per day for a woman and 5 for a man for safe drinking.
Sorry, that's in binge drinking.
Oh, okay. I was like,
it's 4 per day for men.
Gotcha. Okay.
And 3 drinks per day for women.
Okay.
Now, for women, it's no more than 14 drinks in a week.
Okay.
And for men, I want to say it's 21 drinks.
Oh my goodness.
Week.
Wow.
Actually, I think I'm wrong on that. You're going to edit this, right?
Oh, yeah. No. Yep.
Yeah. So, these all my statistics. Yeah, and what it actually is it's 14 drinks in a week for men and 7 drinks in a week for women.
Okay.
Total.
Wow.
The safer drinking guidelines. And then anyone 60 and above would be 7 drinks per week.
Okay.
So the minute that you go over those numbers in a week, the minute you fall into a high risk category for your consumption of alcohol.
Okay. So I'm not sure if you know this, but where do those numbers come from? How are those determined?
So that is coming out of the National Institute on Alcohol and Addiction. Let's see if I can figure out what the actual acronym is. National Institute on Alcohol Abuse and Alcoholism.
Okay.
Is where those numbers are coming from.
So I'm sure that there's people might be either towing that line or far over it without just the structure of our daily lives is so different I think it's really easy to, it's really easy to grab a beer. It's really easy to open another bottle of wine. What advice do you have for people? How do other than perhaps counting their drinks? What other advice do you have for people to kind of keep an eye on themselves in that regard?
Yeah, so I think one of the important things to think about is how do you count your drink? So when we
Okay.
talk about a drink, what we're talking about is like a normal drink.
Mm-hmm.
So it would be ounce and a half shot. It would be a 12-ounce can of beer, like normal beer, not your micro beer or
Okay.
your
Okay.
high alcohol content beer, and a normal 5-ounce bottle or glass of wine. Lots of us, when we open a bottle of wine, we don't pour 5-ounce glasses
Mm-hmm.
of wine. And so or we might be drinking micro brews, which have a higher alcohol content. So it's
Mm-hmm.
really hard to kind of keep track of how much alcohol we're actually consuming.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's one of the biggest struggles that we face. And so someone might have a wine glass that holds half a bottle of wine and say, yeah, this is my one drink for the day. But in reality, they're having closer to 2.5 or 3 drinks.
Mm-hmm.
So what I think about that is really important is maintaining our structure. So for many of us, before all this happened, we had pretty set routines. And with stay-at-home orders, our routines are kind of out the window. And so we have to think about some really important areas here. So one of those areas is a healthy diet.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to continue to eat right and manage our diet. Other thing is that we need to be able to manage our emotions and our stress and anxiety that is coming out of this, and that's where the counseling comes in and why we're still open for business and trying to help as many people as we can. The third thing is making sure that we've got good supports and we're maintaining those supports. So while self-help groups in the community may not be happening face-to-face, many of those have gone online, and there are many resources that people can access for self-help groups if they're worried about their substance use. And the last thing that I would say that we need to manage is our sleep.
Okay.
I think many of us are oversleeping or undersleeping, and especially with our routines being kind of goofed up. And the important thing is that we stick to a normal routine and a normal schedule, and we're getting the right amount of sleep that we need, and that we're not overdoing it or underdoing it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, how do people access help at Cherry Health right now?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
How do people access health? I just messed it up again. How do people access help at Cherry Health right now? Is there a particular part of the website that people can go to?
Yeah, so they can go to our website. They can call our main number, our 965-8200, and go over to our central intake department, and they'll help get anyone connected with the type of services that they need. So that's probably the easiest way, is just calling us directly.
Awesome. Is there any other advice or anything else that you want to say about what's going on in the world right now and how it's impacting you or the people that access help at Cherry Health?
Yeah, I think this is a pretty scary time for all of us, and what I would encourage everyone is that having a safe and supportive outlet to be able to talk about the scary time is really important. And with our ability to be able to provide telehealth services, counseling services that way, I would just say that if you're able to and interested in having a safe, supportive environment to talk about your concerns, it can be very helpful.
Mm-hmm.
And so don't hesitate to reach out and talk through what's going on, because we're all having a difficult time, and it's important to be able to get the supports that we need.
For sure, for sure. Thank you so much, Bob. I really appreciate your insight, and I think that this is going to resonate with a lot of people right now, and it's great to know that people can still access help, even though they may be feeling extra isolated right now.
Yeah, you're welcome. I appreciate the time.
I hope you enjoyed my conversation with Bob. If it resonated with you, if it hit close to home, I'd encourage you to reach out to Cherry Health to get some help. If you feel like you're not quite there yet, but you're growing a little uncomfortable with how much you've maybe been ending the day with a drink or two, or maybe more, reach out to your friends, and family, and express as much. To say, I think I've been drinking a little too much lately, and find ways in which you can engage with them to maybe get past that hump where you might be in the habit of having a drink at like 6 o'clock. Get on Skype with a friend at 6 o'clock, or Zoom. Play a game together online. Have a non-alcoholic happy hour, and just figure out how to pass those times where you've developed the habit of having a drink. So yeah, I would encourage you to do that, and to keep trying to build healthy habits. We all need to eat well and exercise as much as we can right now. It can be hard to hold ourselves to those standards, but right now it's really important. It builds our immunity, but it's also good for our mental health, and we may have a long road of this ahead of us, and the better habits we have, the better we'll be able to cope with it. To stay in touch with us, please visit www.womenslifestyle.com and sign up for our newsletter. You can also listen to this podcast on YouTube. Our YouTube channel is Women's Lifestyle, all one word. If you have any ideas for a podcast episode, or if you'd like to hear from someone we haven't interviewed yet, please reach out to me at elyse@womenslifestyle.com. That's Elyse at womenslifestyle.com. I hope you are all staying healthy and staying safe, and thank you so much for listening.